It's about time with Rashawn's About Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up to my About Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang? Thank you to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to not only subscribe to the channel and who's been showing me a lot of love, but who has been taking out the time to watch the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. If you have not already subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video or any of my videos for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification button to stay up on the latest with Rashawn's About Time Boxing. Please support and subscribe to the following channels. My guy Rebel Light Boxing, YSM Boxing, E-Thriller Boxing, Bud Crawford Beats Easy Route Spence Boxing Channel, Nate's Boxing Nation, Hustler's Home, Isaiah Tilson, Musically Zone Always Talk Boxing, and Expert Genius, and Mark Nash. Support my guy Mark Nash too. I don't even know where to even start with this, because all right, I did a video. I put up a video about this whole Jake Paul Hasim Rahman situation. But there was a lot of people, who was upset because they felt like, well, you didn't hold Hasim Rahman accountable. He should be held accountable. He didn't make the weight. He signed the contract. But it's not that I don't hold him, accountable, but everything is not always in plain black and white, or everything is not always what it appears to be. And that's why I always said there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about. They only let us know what they want us to know. And a lot of times they keep people like us, who investigate this stuff, try to report it, talk about it. They keep us on a strictly need to know basis. And there were a lot of things that was going on with this contract stuff behind closed doors that were not made public. That's just the truth. People can, we can debate about this stuff all day long. Did Rahman sign a contract? Yes. But I believe he signed the contract because I felt like, and this is my opinion, y'all can disagree, it's cool. But I feel like Rahman felt like, that making a weight wouldn't be an issue. Now, on the other hand, I believe that Jake Paul and his team knew he wasn't going to be able to make the weight. And, I'm going to try to pull it up and play some audio from it. But there was a interview going on with Hasim Rahman and some other people. And they were talking about how certain assurances and things of that nature were made to Hasim Rahman, which actually led to him signing the contract. So it's not like, because initially, I guess he wasn't going to sign it, but they were like, all right, well, look, just, sign a contract, you know what I mean? And, don't worry about this, we'll make sure that this happened, or this is cool, or this is taken care of, or whatever the situation, whatever the assurances were. But the people who made those assurances wasn't in a position to not only make those assurances, but they knew they wasn't going to be able to keep their word for it. But the whole thing was just to get him to sign the contract. And I'm not the only one that's reporting this, that's saying this. So y'all can be mad at me all y'all want. But these things, were made knowing that they wasn't going to be able to keep their word to Hasim Rahman, but it was just to get him to sign a contract. And they figured at some point that he's not going to be able to make the weight. So, and the whole thing again. And like I said, listen, we can agree to disagree. Now, if it was a situation cut and dry, like where, because remember, Rahman was a replacement for Tommy Fury. So it wasn't like he was the targeted opponent from the beginning. They had time to work out the details and all that kind of stuff. Because if that's the case, he definitely would have been getting paid more. Because they offered Tommy Fury $2 million. And Rahman got the lowest out of anybody Jake Paul has ever fought. Okay, so they just wanted him to sign a contract to make it look like, and again, we can agree to disagree, to sign a contract to make it look like that Jake Paul was really trying to fight a real boxer. Because the heat was on his back about that. The heat was on his back about that. Ain't no question about it. The heat was on his neck about him fighting an actual boxer. So when Tommy Fury pulled out or whatever he did, now Tommy Fury pulled out. That's a pullout, or whatever the situation was with that. That wasn't the case with Hasim Rahman. And keep in mind, this is an exhibition. This is not like what's going on with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, or when Terrence Crawford, fought Gamboa, Spence fought Danny Garcia, Jaron Ennis fought Lipin Yates, and Bernard Hopkins fought Antonio Tarver, Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya. Wasn't these type of those are not exhibitions. Those are fights, real fights. Okay, so you talking about an exhibition? And since when did the weight become a factor in the exhibition, especially to Jake Paul? When? Was the weight issue a factor when he fought Nate Robinson? He was bigger than Nate Robinson. Weighed more than him at the weigh-in and was weighed more than him on the night of the fight. Weighed more than Tyron Woodley. You didn't hear him talking about a weight factor then. And when his brother Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather, a heavyweight fight in a welterweight, did you hear anybody talking about weight stipulations, weight checks and all that? Was any of that stuff the issue? Because guarantee you, if Floyd would have been like, nah, I want to bring the fight down to this weight, everybody would have been like, what you oh, he's scared to fight it. Oh, Mayweather scared. Not Money Mayweather. What you mean, talking about, wait, this is exhibition. They didn't do all that stuff when Logan fought KSI either. And Logan was bigger than KSI. And I guarantee you, if Jake and them if this weight thing wasn't an issue, and if Hasim Rahman Jr. would have been the one talking about the weight thing and would have wanted that to be in there, you know what Jake and his team would have been saying? Oh, we tried to fight a real fighter. Rahman, Jr. just scared. That's why he talking about the weight stuff, because I'm going to beat his ass. Oh, and by the way, when they were sparring, right? 18 months ago or so, 2 years, whatever, when they were sparring, Hasim Rahman was about 230-something pounds then, and Jake bragged about beating his ass in sparring, and Rahman weighed over 200 pounds. So if you was whooping his ass in sparring and he was over 200 pounds, what difference would it make in this exhibition fight? Why is the weight a factor now? Because every time you look out there, every time you look at a headline, you know what I mean? Or you reading something on social media, Rahman Jr. didn't make the weight. Oh, he didn't honor his part of the deal and all this type of stuff. It's all you see. And that's because Jake Paul got more money than Hasim Rahman Jr. He has more influence than Hasim Rahman Jr. And his reach is farther than Hasim Rahman Jr. So Jake Paul has the means and the connections to get his narrative out there. And let's make this whole thing about the weight. And not about the fact that this is a real fighter. And by the way, okay, so this thing with Hasim Rahman Jr. falls through. Didn't he have a replacement even for that? That he could have, still fought to save the fight? He could have still saved the fight. And this guy was a cruiserweight who could have easily, from what I'm understanding, made the weight. But he still chose not to fight that guy. And nobody's not questioning none of these things. Everybody just want to focus on the fact that Hasim Rahman didn't make the weight. This is a exhibition fight. Since when was weight an issue? Now Jake Paul holding people to weight standards now? He didn't do none of that against Nate Robinson, Tyron Woodley, or anybody else that he fought. He didn't do any of that stuff against them. We weren't talking about no weight and all that kind of stuff, but now you getting to fight a real boxer. And in case y'all didn't know, if I'm not mistaken, it was Jake Paul's manager and his brother Logan who advised him to not fight Hasim Rahman Jr. And why did they advise him on that? Because they said, look, this is not going to be a good look for you. So if they, so how can we get out the fight? How can we? And again, I'm not saying that this is what Jake and them were saying, like, how can I get out the fight? Or what can I do now? Because everybody's expecting, because the fight was announced, 3 weeks ago or something like that? 3.5 weeks ago? And yeah, Hasim Rahman Jr. said, man, I'm not worried about the weight, blah, 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 blah. But you know why he said that? And after I played one audio, I got to queue up this other one and play that one because there were certain assurances, promises that was made to him. And these people knew they wasn't going to be able to keep their word. But the whole thing, again, was just to go him into signing the contract. And that's what he did. Now, maybe that's, maybe he just wrong for that. But just like, he could have just nixed the fight altogether. I mean, that's what I probably would have did. You know what I mean? If, all right, everything ain't going that way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no, they talking about this, that. Oh, no. Because he didn't have to take the fight. He didn't. You're absolutely right about that. He did not have to take that fight. He didn't. But he did under, if you want to say, false pretenses. In a sense. And he was willing to take the fine. He was willing to take the fine. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, look at it like this. When has a fight, and it was a pay-per-view fight too. When has a fight, pay-per-view fight, ever been canceled a week before because of weight problems, weight issues? And it's an exhibition now. It's an exhibition. So honestly, if this is an exhibition, weight should have never even came into play. Because if y'all gonna put the weight in the play, then y'all might as well do the, the VADA, drug testing and all that. Y'all might as well do all that. If y'all holding people to weight and all that, then let's do the doping, the VADA testing, blood and all that kind of stuff. But, But, like I said, I know, some of y'all, don't agree with what I'm saying. Some of y'all don't like what I'm saying. Some of y'all gonna be mad. But guess what? I don't care. I don't. Because like I said, I feel like, in my opinion, that Jake Paul, he wanted to get out of the fight. He could have still fought him, especially if he, bragged about whooping his ass in sparring, and Hasim Rahman was way over 200 pounds when he was sparring with him. So what difference would it make in this exhibition? If the weight wasn't an issue when y'all was sparring, then why is the weight an issue now? Why is it an issue now? I'm just saying. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like the video, share this video, drop them comments. But again, Jake Paul made mention in the press conference that he likes to take on challenges, challenge himself, and do all these daring things, but yet and still you worried about weight now? You repeatedly talked about this footage you got of you whooping Hasim Rahman's ass in sparring. Weight shouldn't be an issue. But I'm going to let y'all hear from Jake Paul's mouth from Jake Paul's mouth. Check it out.
Yeah, 100%. This is what I do. You know, I take hard challenges and challenge myself more and more with each fight, increase the level of opposition, and give the fans what they want. People say fight a real boxer. Here we go. This guy's bigger than me. He has more experience. There's no reason that I should win this, but I'm proving to the world and proving to the kids out there that if you set your mind to something, and you truly believe in yourself, and you're dedicated, and you're mentally low-key have to be insane.
And you stack the
deck.
deck. Don't forget you stack the deck. Don't forget you got to stack deck.
And that's what I'm proving.
You try to bring me down to cruiserweight, and then put a rehydration clause in the contract. Don't forget about none of that.
You already
don't forget none of that is take it or leave it.
Why you already making
Don't forget that's take it or leave it. That was take it or leave it.
Why you already making excuses?
I'm not making no excuses. I'm telling
you.
you. Because you leaving it out. Because you leaving it out. Let the people know. Let the people know.
Excuses.
You already talking about he's bigger than me. Oh, he's bigger than me. Oh, he's a heavyweight and all this and all that. That's cut because we coming to cruiserweight. Thank you. So don't. That's not. You cannot do that. That's out.
So you'll be 215 on the night of the fight.
You don't know how much.
And I'll be 195.
You don't know how much I'm gonna weigh on the night of the fight.
You heard that? He said you'll be 215 on the night of the fight. Said he'll be 215 on the night of the fight. So if they were trying to drain him down to 200 pounds, and there's a 10-pound rehydration clause. Now, I know a lot of y'all saying, oh, but they raised the weight. Yeah, they raised the weight after this press conference. So how did he know that on the night of the fight, or how can he assume on the night of the fight that Hasim Rahman Jr. would be weighing 215? If he had to come down to 200, this is the initial deal now. He got to come down to 200 in the rehydration clause. He only can rehydrate 10 pounds. So that's 210 pounds. This is an extra 5 pounds that Jake Paul had already mentioned. And this was before the weight had been raised. This is the first press conference now. There wasn't no talk about the weight being raised and all that kind of stuff. So everybody talking about now, oh, they raised the rate. They raised the weight and brought it to the 205. Yeah, that happened after this. But Jake Paul said, because everybody know. And there's countless interviews out there. Hasim Rahman Jr. said, oh, they making me come down to 200 pounds, and it's a 10-pound rehydration clause in the contract. Now, once again, listen, some of y'all going to say, man, Rahman didn't have to sign the contract. And guess what? I agree with y'all. He didn't have to. But again, under those false pretenses or whatever assurances was made to him, he signed a contract based on that because they just, I guess wanted to make it look like Jake was really trying to fight a professional fighter, you know what I'm saying? And I think that they knew that either way he wasn't going to be able to make the weight. I think, I could be wrong. I think that Hasim Rahman believed that he could probably make the weight. But I think that Jake and them knew, like, yo, it's no way he's going to make the weight. So then they can pull a plug on the fight and trying to make it seem like, you know what I mean, that professional fighters are unprofessional and that they scared to fight him and they don't know how to go about their business and all that. Like, oh, they can't even, stick to this so he can go back to fighting soccer players, retired basketball players or retired, over the hill MMA fighters or whatever the situation is. But I know one thing. Steve Espinoza and Showtime, they're making a lot of money with Jake Paul and off of Jake Paul. It's called protecting your investment. Protecting your investment. Because if Hasim Rahman destroy Jake Paul, knock him out in dramatic fashion, what does that do to the whole Jake Paul persona, the whole Jake Paul show, the whole this is 100%, this is what I do, challenge myself each and every time, and all that stuff goes out the window. Even though I feel like that, even if Hasim Rahman would have knocked him out, people still would want to see Jake Paul fight. But they would still want to see him. They would still want to see him. They would. I mean, that's just a fact. You know what I mean? They would still want to see him fight. So I don't think that, but, the so-called powers that be or whatever, maybe they not looking at it that way. And believe it or not, do you know that they were actually talking about ranking Jake Paul after this fight? If he would have fought Hasim Rahman Jr., they were talking about ranking him. They was talking about ranking him. You know how long it took for Jaron Ennis to get ranked? And he really do this. Boots Ennis really do this fighting thing. And they was talking about ranking this guy after this fight. That just goes to show you. You know what I mean? That just goes to show you. I guess, it's all about the entertainment and, money that you can generate. And, you can't deny it. Jake Paul is generating money for boxing. He is generating money for boxing. He's doing it. You know what I mean? Because guess what? If he wasn't, believe you me, Steve Espinoza and Showtime would have never given him no damn contract. And they damn sure wouldn't be fighting on no pay-per-view. So it's all about, you know what I mean, your, the money, that you can generate. And I say this, the money that he's generating is not smoke and mirrors. He's generating money. But he, I still don't think he wanted to fight a real boxer. I just feel like he wanted to give the appearance or the like thereof that that's what he that's what he was trying to do, fight a real boxer. And then everything fall through like, nah, well, y'all seen it. And, but, like I said, Jake got more money, more resources, his reach is longer, he got more connects. So, of course, he can put whatever spin on it he want to spend. And whatever gets out there first is what the media going to eat up. And that's all you saw. Rahman Jr. didn't honor his part of the deal. He signed the contract. He couldn't make the weight. I never knew that the weight was an issue in the exhibition. I said it once, and I'm gonna keep reiterating it. It didn't. I don't understand why the weight wasn't an issue when he, when Logan fought Floyd, or KSI, or when Logan fought Nate Robinson, or Tyron Woodley, or anybody else. Nobody talked about no weight and none of that stuff then. And like I said, if Hasim Rahman Jr. would have had more time, if he would have been the first choice and not Tommy Fury, and he would have had time to properly negotiate that contract, and if he would have started adding like stuff like, okay, you want to treat it like a real fight, not an exhibition, then I want this, I want that, I want that. I'm telling you, the narrative would have been Hasim Rahman Jr., son of, former world heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman Sr., scared to fight Jake Paul. And Jake would have took it and ran with it too. You know what I mean? Like, that's you know what I mean? That's his thing. That's what he do. Like, you know what I mean? It's strategic. You know what I mean? It's he's smart. Jake is a smart guy and it's strategic. You know what I mean? So can't knock the hustle. But at the same time, it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, it was some other audio that I wanted to play, but this video is going long enough. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing another piece to this. But like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like this video, share this video, drop the comments in the comment section below. That's all I got for now. I'll be back with another one.